Hello, I'm Pete Martin. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in other videos of mandolin, fiddle, improvisation, and many other musical subjects, click the subscribe banner below. And if you want to be notified when I post new videos, click the bell icon right next to it. This video series is for people who want to learn to improvise on the mandolin, but who either don't improvise or who are not comfortable with their improvisations. I would suggest going back and starting at video number 1 and looking at everything in order, as things tend to build on each other. There's a PDF file for this, so email me and request Improv from Scratch number 6 Major CTS. Let's look at some basic music theory. Here, I play the G major scale in example 1. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. We can number the notes in the scale. So the first note, which is G, is the number 1. The second note, A, is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5, E is 6, F sharp is 7, and then when we reach the octave, G is 1 again. One more thing you need to know is the notes in a major chord are the 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. So for a G major scale, the G major chord would be G, B, D, or 1, 3, 5. When we are playing eighth notes, we want to sync with the rhythm section, which means playing a note of the chord that the rhythm section is playing at the same time they're playing it. They play 4 times a measure, or on the beat in 4/4 time with quarter notes and eighth notes, and we play twice as many notes. We play 8 eighth notes. So we want to make sure that the notes we play that happen at the same time as the beat are the notes of the chord. And this is synchronizing with the rhythm section. So in other words, if we're playing against a major chord, we need the 1, 3, and 5 to line up on the beat. If we go back and look at the major chord outlines that we did in video 2, you see this. The notes of the major chord, 1, 3, 5, are always lining up on the beat. I want you to learn the G major scale from as low as you can play in first position, the G note on the G string, the open G string, to the highest note you can play in first position, which is the 7th fret on the E string, or the note B. I play this in example 2. One, 2, 3, 4. If I play all eighth notes, notice which notes fall on the beat. They're indicated by the X. So notice that sometimes G, B, and D, once again, those are 1, 3, 5, are on the beat, and sometimes they're not. There's a part where F sharp, A, C, and E are on the beat, kind of in the middle of the scale, an example 2, and then at the end of it, G and B come back on the beat. So because of this section, we are not syncing with the rhythm section. So we need to figure out something to do to make ourselves sync with the rhythm section. When I transcribed and learned solos from my favorite players, and these were improvised solos that these players were doing, one of the things I noticed is when they'd play long scale sections, when they were ascending, they'd take out the 6th note of the scale, and when they were descending, they'd take out the 7th note of the scale. What this did, I saw, was it kept the notes of the chord on the beat. And of course, that's what we're calling syncing with the rhythm section. So because I had not seen any name for this, I made up a name, and I call that name the chord tone scale, or I abbreviate that CTS. And what the chord tone scale means is a note of the chord is landing on the beat. So once again, this keeps us in sync with the rhythm section. Notice on what you just saw on the screen that in the G major chord tone scale, the G, B, and D are always on the beat. If you didn't notice that, review and look at that real quick. I'm going to play example 2 again with a chord sound going behind me. So listen to it and you can hear that my notes of the scale don't always synchronize with the chord sound. One, two, three, four. In example 3 here, I'm going to play the ascending G major chord tone scale with a chord sound, and notice how they always fit with it. One, two, three, four. Notice how in the ascending chord tone scale for G major, I removed the E note. The E is the 6th note of the scale, so we remove that, and once again notice that G, B, and D always fell on the beat. If I start on the highest note in first position, B, and descend the C major scale, once again, notice I don't always sync with the rhythm section. You'll see that here in example 4. One, two, three, four. If I remove the F sharp notes from the descending G major scale, now I get the G descending chord tone scale, the major descending chord tone scale, and notice that G, B, and D always line up on the beat. I play this in example 5. One, two, three, four. Anytime you're descending the major scale and want to make the chord tone scale out of it, remove the 7th note. We can take the chord tone scale and make several short musical phrases out of it. I'm going to present 4 here that I hear quite often in people's improvising. The first one is we can start on a note of the chord tone scale, go up 1 note in the chord tone scale. So when I say go up and down, I'm meaning in the chord tone scale. So start on a chord tone, go up 1 note in the scale, down 1 to the original chord tone, and then down 1 in the chord tone scale. It's a 4-note pattern, and it's example 6. I can keep this going by simply going down to the next note in the chord and playing the same pattern. I call this major CTS lick 1. It's example 7 here. We can play the same melodic idea but ascend rather than descend. This is example 8, and I call it major CTS lick number 2. Another common phrase I hear quite a bit is to start on a note of the chord, go up 1 at a time, 2 notes in the chord tone scale, and then go back to the original chord tone. So this is another 4-note pattern, and it's example 9 here. The previous lick can be turned into a pattern simply by going down to the next chord tone lower and playing the same idea. This is example 10, and I call it major CTS lick number 3. We can also play this musical idea going up instead of down. So this is major CTS lick number 4, example 11. So I want you to practice the major chord tone scale ascending and descending. Remember, they're slightly different. And these 4 licks derived from this scale. Do these in several keys. When you get comfortable with them, then move on to the next video. I'm Pete Martin. Thanks for watching.